And all 5 commissioners are present. Consideration of the minutes of the last meeting. Any changes, corrections, additions, complaints?
I have none.
Flawless.
Okay, thank you. Now is one of our very favorite times of the year and look forward to it all the time. And I'm very sincere about that because we're so respectful of our wonderful associates at the city, and the longevity of these people is really exciting. So, presentation of service awards to the city employees. Miss Aaron.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Aaron Giebler, Director of Human Resources. Sandy, you took a lot of my thunder there.
I'm sorry.
It is the best time of the year. We're always excited to do this. And as you guys know, that our city is as great as it is because of the employees that we have. And so today, at today's service award, we are going to be celebrating 380 years of service total. So we're going to start off with the 5-year award. Someone you might know, Colin Belzer, Deputy City Manager.
Thank you.
Lindsay Clayton, Police Corporal of the Hayes Police Department.
Thank you. Didn't I see you today? Were you out at the veterans meeting? No. There we go. Now we have to look at James.
Thank you. Sebastian Futh, Senior Maintenance Worker, Public Works Department Service Division.
Congratulations, Sebastian. Thank you so much.
Wrong way.
Well, I'm presenting what I'm showing.
Mason Jones, Senior Maintenance Worker, Public Works Department, Solid Waste Division. Riker Reese, Senior Maintenance Worker with the Parks Department. He wasn't able to be here tonight. Trevor Sherman, Senior Firefighter, the Hayes Fire Department.
You get in trouble with Aaron if you don't follow her.
I don't want to do that. I'm close enough to right across. Thank you all very much.
And closing out the 5-year award is Blaine Warner, Senior Plant Operator, the Water Resources Department, Water Division. Moving on to the 10-year award, the first one we're going to do here is Lisa Beilman, Administrative Assistant for the Hayes Fire Department. I'll say I know she's here. I hear her voice. Where is she?
Thank you.
Joe Billinger, Superintendent, Public Works Department, Solid Waste Division. This is a recent promotion for him. He was with Stormwater just a few months ago. Next up is Mike Bliss. He's a Senior Maintenance Worker for the Public Works Department, Service Division. Dan Bucher, a park technician at the Parks Department, Sports Complex Division. Jake Erickson, Maintenance Worker 2 with the Parks Department, Golf Division. Philip Gage, Police Sergeant with the Hayes Police Department. Grady Keith, Senior Firefighter, the Hayes Fire Department. Dakota Reese, Police Sergeant with the Hayes Police Department. And Chris Smith, R9 Property Manager, Water Resources Department, R9 Division. He just got back from Manhattan to get to this meeting.
Water conferencing, were you?
All right, next up, 15-year awards. And somebody we might know, Aaron Giebler, Director of Human Resources.
15 years.
It doesn't feel like it.
Kim, you were supposed to mess the name.
Thank you.
Next 15-year award, Travis Hageman, Senior Firefighter, Hayes Fire Department. Rounding out 15-year, Johnny Rupp, Superintendent, Water Resources Department and Maintenance Division.
Look old enough to be here 15 years. Congratulations.
And you're back with me. So the 20-year award, we're going to start with Mark Augustine, Park Technician for the Parks Department. He does a lot with the buffalo. Bison.
I know, I'm all good. I would ask.
Congratulations. Thank you.
J.B. Burkholder, Police Detective with the Hayes Police Department. Been an investigator detective for a while now. Does a great job. We didn't talk about how we were going to do the next one, so we'll see how it goes. 20 years. Toby Doherty. Thought he would just turn around.
get accused of not following orders.
Our city manager.
20 years snuck right up on us, didn't it?
Greg May, Senior Firefighter, Hayes Fire Department. And the final 20-year award, Stan Moore, a Community Service Officer with the Hayes Police Department. So we're going to move on to the quarter of a century. Those with 25 years of service. And we're going to start off with Troy Baskell, a senior maintenance worker for the Public Works Department Solid Waste Division. Know for sure he'll follow the rules.
25 years to do everything. Congratulations.
Also rushing back from Manhattan to make this meeting is John Brown getting his 25-year award as the R9 project manager. And while I'm really excited about all of them, we have two that are 30 years, and that always excites me. They've given most of their life to the city and the dedication. When we know not just them, but their family, and it's not just an 8 to 5 job, and especially the two that we're going to recognize today. So we're going to start off with Dustin Degenhart, senior maintenance worker for the Hayes Regional Airport. And before that, he was with the service division. So he knows how to move snow at night and holidays, and we appreciate him. And the final one for tonight is Fire Captain Aaron Domi with the Hayes Fire Department. He actually started in the Water Resources Department when he started before moving to fire. So again, 2 positions that know what it's like for sacrifice, time away from the family, and we really appreciate all that he's done. So if we can give a round of applause for all 380. We appreciate each and every one of them, and I'm excited each year to do this because that number of years of service just keeps going up. So thank you.
Are we dismissed?
You're dismissed. You can go back to your seats.
Gotta clear everything.
Yeah. All day I needed to walk. Sure did.
Bear with me 1 minute here.
Get your bearings.
That's actually pretty quick.
That went very quickly.
Yeah.
It's the arrows.
I know, that's what I was thinking.
Is that okay?
Me too.
Okay, moving on the agenda. Citizen comments on any non-agenda items.
David Koschel, City of Hayes resident. Like to just say a couple of things that have been on my mind for a little while now about the meetings. One of the things is citizen comments on non-agenda items. Seems a little off to me that we can't speak as the public at the meetings about the items on the agenda for the day.
You can, David. At the city commission meeting, when the agenda item, you can speak at that time. It's just the work session that we don't have citizen comments.
I'm
Yeah,
talking
this-
about what you had just said.
Yeah, this one's just for anything that's not on the agenda. If you've got something on your mind you want to bring to us.
So, but during the entire meeting, we can speak out on any.
On any,
get up.
Oh,
any
absolutely.
agenda item, yes.
Absolutely.
Well, that's good to know. It just was a little confusing on that. Another thing, I had to rush down here from work. I've been pretty good about taking the time off, but it would be great for the public if we could move these meetings back down to closer to 5:36, 6:30, whatever might work for you guys. That way, more people can be here in attendance for those. That's all I have for now.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Consent agenda, we have one item on the consent agenda. That's the expansion of 13th Street School Zone. Do I hear a motion?
Sorry. Go ahead.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Commissioner Musil, seconded by Commissioner Reuter. Is there any questions or discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Aaron, you're back. Item 6 on the agenda, health insurance for City of Hayes employees.
I did not go far.
No, you didn't.
Once again, Commissioners, I'm Erin Giebler, Director of Human Resources. So let's talk about some history of our health insurance. Back in 2017, we switched to Blue Cross Blue Shield, offering a 3-plan options. And we still offer Blue Cross Blue Shield and that 3-plan option. And out of the 3 plans, the high deductible plan continues to be the most popular option. The city's health insurance costs continues to do well below the national average. A lot of that has to do with lower utilization due to informed decisions of employees' health costs. That's what the high deductible plan does. Seen here is a graph showing the average high deductible health plan employee-only annual premium cost. The blue line is the national average, while the orange line shows the city's premium cost. So you can see there's still a decent difference between them. Just over $2 million is budgeted for employee health insurance for 2026. We received our renewal from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas in September, and that came back at a 12.8% increase. And while that increase is high for us, we're still, even with that 12% increase, we're still below the average. And if you looked at the time since we've been at Blue Cross Blue Shield, and you annualize it out, we would be going up 2.6% every year, which in health insurance, especially in the market that we've been in, that's amazing. The national average is closer to 6%. Since this is the second year in a row of larger increase, last year being about the same 12.79% increase, we went out for bids. We want to make sure that the city's always getting the best deal we can and not blindly accepting what Blue Cross gives us. So we did go out to bids with our benefit consultant Freedom Claims, and we received bids from Blue Cross Blue Shield, United Healthcare, and KMIT. And KMIT is a pool of municipalities that does workers' comp, and then they've got into the health insurance market recently. We also reached out to Cigna. They did not respond, and Aetna declined to quote, saying they could not be competitive with the rates we already received. So Blue Cross Blue Shield ended up being the lowest bid at that time. So for 2026, the city, based on input from the Wage and Benefit Committee, recommends keeping the health insurance plans with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas, offering the same 3 plans as last year. Changes were made to the employees' premiums amounts and employee HSA amount to keep this recommendation within budget. So that's the recommendation for 2026. But what I want to do is, since we've been with the same 3 plans since 2017, I want to make sure, is our plan still doing what we need to for it? Is there another plan that would control utilization even more? And so I did more research. I reviewed the 3 health insurance plans to make sure it is the most cost-effective option. And when I analyzed it, it indicated the city's health insurance premiums are aligned more closely with the medical CPI than the national average that goes up with the health insurance. So while utilization is higher, it's important to know part of utilization being higher is just the cost of everything costs more. So we are the red line, and you can see on average, the trend is right in line with the green line, which is the CPI of medical expenditures. So that shows the 3 plans we are using are still working well for us. We're still controlling cost, but of course the market is changing. Commissioners have 2 options: to approve the 2026 health insurance plan as presented, or provide staff with further guidance. And this would be the action I am requesting from you guys.
I move that we authorize the city manager to sign an agreement with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas to provide employees with a triple option health insurance plan not to exceed $2,013,000 and to be funded out of the Employee Benefit Levy Fund.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Cunningham and seconded by Commissioner Barrick. Further discussion or questions for Aaron?
Aaron, the only thing I would say, and Mayor said it last week, your continued education, I think, really has helped, us keep it within line, and I appreciate what you do with that.
Thank you.
And I'll state it again, since we may have 1 or 2 people watching. We can usually tell how many are watching. Millions? Are we at millions? We're at 9. Okay, that's good. I think it really is important to understand the value of what Aaron does in education of our associates in terms of their medical usage. They understand now everything, the repercussion of everything they do. We never want them to put their health at risk, but they make decisions because of what Aaron teaches them or shares with them on a regular basis. So you're very much appreciated, Aaron.
And then,
Oh, go ahead.
sorry, Wage and Benefit Committee, you said, had put their input in on it.
Yes.
Positive feedback from them.
Well, I mean, no one likes increases in
Right.
premiums, but when we looked at that and what a lot of their spouses pay for health insurance, they still said this is a great deal.
Appreciate that.
And I know I stated it last week, but I'll just say it again, that I really appreciate the time that you put in to research different options and compare things and make sure that we are with the best option for our employees. So thank you.
Yep, so the proof is in the pudding. The fact that we are keeping what we can control, costs down, that's all we can do, you know, and finding the best option, that's what we can do, and we appreciate that you make that effort for us.
Yeah, and it didn't just blindly lead us to, well, it's 12.8%, we'll just leave it at that. I appreciate you going out to all of them.
I can almost assure you she does nothing blindly. She spends a lot of time in research.
Notice the tape on the floor to make sure.
If there's nothing further, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Thank you, passes 5-0. Thank you, Aaron. Item 7, North Side Multi-Use Path, concurrence with KDOT, award of bid and approval of matching funds.
Good evening, Commissioners. Jeff Boyle, Director of Parks. We talked about this a little last week, kind of a little background. April 2023, the Commission approved a resolution of support for the path. In October of 2023, the Commission approved the alignment of the North Side Path. And then in January, the Commission approved a three-party agreement with KDOT and CFS Engineering. And again, this is the trail that we've been talking about that goes from 41st and Hall all the way over to Vine Street, across Vine Street, and over to the Sternberg Museum. The little section on the far right-hand side is what I call the East Path, the connecting path, the Grove Path. A lot of us are referring to it as that as well. But those will be coming together as one path, and really the importance of this path, this is the connectivity that we needed. And so this fulfills that portion of town, the connectivity that is required to get from point A to point B. Bid results, Morgan Brothers was low bid at $1,658,294. You may recall in 2024, the city budgeted $500,000 for this project, with the other portion coming from carbon reduction grant through KDOT. It's an 80-20 match, so our $500,000 was to match the 20% requirement. This kind of breaks it out a little bit more for you. KDOT amount would be $1,271,000, some change, and then of course the City of Hayes portion of that would be $387,000. I did change the first bullet point from last week. The authority to award contract actually has the mayor's signature on it, and I had this, the option was authorize the city manager. So I'm requesting that we change that to authorize the mayor to sign that authority award contract. Or direct staff to another option, or do nothing. And the action requested was also changed to show the mayor as the person to authorize to sign that contract. So basically, we are asking for a 10% contingency, city manager's authority to spend if needed, only if needed. We don't anticipate any need to spend that money, but you just never know when you've got a project this large. So we are asking for that authority as well. And with that, I'd take any questions that you may have.
I move to authorize the mayor to sign the authority to award contract commitment of City of Hayes, or city funds for the North Side Multi-Use Path KDOT Project 026TE-0511-01 for an amount of $387,000 from the Park Improvement Fund, and provide the authority for the city manager to spend up to an additional $38,000 or 10% contingency from the Park Improvement Fund for unknowns throughout the remainder of the project.
Very good.
Thank you.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Reuter and seconded by Commissioner Cunningham. Any other discussion and questions for Jeff? Yes, sir.
David Koschel, resident, City of Hayes. I haven't dug into this project a whole lot. I know that it would be really nice for the city to have a multi-use path to go along the north side. But I think that here in a meeting recently, we were talking about running out of money for the parks and maybe having to decide on what to maintain and what not to maintain down the line. I know it's great that we'd be getting the grant that would cover the bulk of this project, but $400,000 perhaps plus could go a long ways to future maintenance for our parks, and we have plenty of roads and other sidewalks in town. So it just doesn't make sense to me if we're struggling for funds for Parks Department for us to budget something like this that it would be nice but isn't necessarily needed.
Thank you. Appreciate your comment. Commissioners?
I, for one, am excited about this. I have more people, not only from Hayes, but people that come to town for the weekend, just how walkable it is in Hayes and how they can get on their bikes and ride over town. And I'm excited for this. I've had so many people reach out, when's it going to start? When's it going to start? So I'm excited, and I think it's great. And, and to his point, we've talked a lot about parks, but I don't think we're struggling for money for parks. We're just trying to make sure they're sustainable. And so that's why we've been talking about it. But the word struggle, I think, is not the correct word, because we have plenty of money and we're going to take care of the parks.
Anybody else?
Jeff, when did we started the multi-use project in what, 2018? 2017?
17, I think.
This particular one here?
No, not this
No.
particular
Oh.
one. I mean
The multi-use path.
the master plan that circles the whole city.
The master plan was actually done in the early 2000s,
Oh, was- okay.
2001 or 2.
Really?
Okay.
Our first attempt at the grant behind along the dike, basically north of 12th Street, that did not go through. There were some things there that we had to work on, and anyway, we got it started on the street paths after that, and so things got changed up a little bit for us. But yeah, so it actually started in 2001 with the master plan. We have since changed that master plan a little bit.
Right.
So.
But when did we do the cap on the dike? Wasn't that 17?
Yeah, it was before that. It was
I-
probably 13 or
Yeah.
14.
Yeah,
And then the east side was probably 18 or 19, the one that connects Hayes Rec to Hayes Med.
I think that was my first year. That was 19.
19, okay.
And then the completion of this project would put us at, what you think, like 75% complete with the entire project?
I don't have that number readily available. I don't know that it would be quite 75, but it's close to that.
Close to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
For the loop.
Yes, yeah,
Now,
okay.
The
Yep.
original plans had talked about some trails that actually came into the city and connected to that loop around the city. Those are going to be, secondary to getting the loop completed. We want to make sure that we can get folks from one side of the town all the way around to the other side. That was the intent. If later on we decide we want to run those fingers into town for that connectivity, that would certainly be something the commission could pursue.
And then we submitted this grant application to KDOT back in 23.
23, yes.
Commissioner Cunningham, did you have something?
Yeah, I was just going to mention that one thing to keep in mind that's very important with this path is that it's not only serving younger children that play at the park, it's serving the whole community, that they can walk, ride a bike, run, and the fact that they can connect from one side of town to the other now is huge in my mind. So,
And it's very safe for seniors to walk on it.
I think
yes.
particularly to tie these together is that probably the most dangerous place that gets a whole lot of use in town are people bicycling and jogging on 41st Street from Hall to Vine Street. That used to be a county road that was turned over to the city. That's a very narrow road with a sort of a steep ditch on either side. So, and it's very narrow, 2 lanes of cars driving, and people still try to ride their bikes or run on it, which means people have to be really paying attention to move over to get out of the way. So people do use that, and it's dangerous. And so this would really provide a long section that is dangerous now for sort of safely using a multi-use path for people to actually use safely, as well as everything everybody said about connectivity. But it's actually a very, very safety-minded thing for that part of town. And it's also, we budgeted $500,000, so we're saving $113,000. So even the 10% contingency fee doesn't even bring us close to what we had actually had budgeted. So ideally, we're not going to use any of that contingency fee, but it shows that we're still, being frugal and wise with our spending.
Good point.
We're just identifying for future projects with funding of when it comes time to replace things like when we replace Massey. Identifying which parks need which specific equipment and identifying
Correct.
more cost-effective ways to replace things, correct?
Yeah, we talked about that. If we focused on our 4 main parks, what I'm going to call the neighborhood parks,
Okay.
kept those nice with good equipment. Then the other parks, I think we could focus on some smaller stuff that are more affordable. Still provide activities for the kids, yet are affordable. Not a $150,000 playground unit.
Right, and continue those
Yeah.
partnerships with those local organizations.
And as we've shared often, we are really intentionally working very closely on all of the park stuff, and there'll be some activity after the retreat, and spend a lot of time on it at the retreat. So this particular subject we're back to, it's been moved by Commissioner Reuter, seconded by Commissioner Cunningham.
Sorry, could I say one more thing?
Sure.
David Koschel again. So we just did clarify that we are running low on money for the parks. We just said that we're going to focus on 4 main neighborhood parks and maybe invest less into the other parks. But I think that all of the parks get used by, maybe not every single one. There's one behind Arby's that is kind of hidden away that people might not even know about. But a lot of the different parks are constantly used. I mean, the one on 4th Street was just removed by Lincoln School. It wasn't a city park, but it was definitely utilized. And I think that investing in something that's not completely necessary, because we do have ways to connect from one side of the city to the other currently, maybe until we get some more funds for that, maybe we should stop spending on all these things. Maybe we should focus on, let's make sure we keep money so that all the parks can be maintained, all the parks can have good equipment, instead of adding more sidewalks.
Thank you. Back to the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. The next item on the agenda is the Reinvestment Housing Incentive District, the RHID for Lincoln School, the resolution making certain housing needs, findings, and determinations. Mr. Kuckelman.
Good afternoon, Jared Kuckelman, Assistant City Manager. I do have Dominic Eck, who's the city's bond counsel, on the phone if there's any technical questions that come up. First up for me will be a resolution making certain housing needs, findings, and determinations, which is the first step in the RHID creation process for the former Lincoln School property. So the Lincoln Elementary School building was closed in May as part of the USD 489 bond projects. Local developer Mike Graham was the successful purchaser of the property after the school board approved his bid back in January of this year. Developer has proposed converting the existing school building into rentable housing units and constructing 7 fourplexes on the remaining open space on the property while utilizing an RHID to offset the costs. So this shows the site of the former Lincoln School, while the image on the right shows what the boundaries of the RHID district are proposed to look like. So this image has been shown before. Just a concept plan, so things could still change, but thus far, the owner does plan to remodel the 100-year-old school into 26 to 28 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, and then construct 7 fourplexes on the surrounding area east of the former school building. So just a real quick reminder on how RHIDs work. They're established by cities or counties based on a housing needs analysis to capture the incremental gains in property taxes for up to 25 years. They can be financed through bonds or pay-as-you-go, and in this case, it would be pay-as-you-go. After the 25 years, the full valuation is restored to all the taxing jurisdictions. So the RHID can be an important developmental tool, as the revenue from the incremental gain in value can reimburse the developer for certain eligible costs, some of which are listed here on the slide. This RHID will be a bit more unique than some of the previous ones that Hayes has done, in that it does include an existing building along with some new construction. Existing buildings are allowed under certain provisions of state statute, and so this building does qualify. And we did do a similar RHID for an existing building for the Frontier Apartments. So as I mentioned, this RHID will be pay as you go. The estimated revenue generated over the 25-year period is $1.325 million, while the anticipated eligible costs are estimated at around $4.3 million. So this does mean that the RHID would likely last for the full 25 years and that the developer would still be responsible for about 70% of the project costs. As part of this project, the developer has also asked for an IRB sales tax exemption on the construction materials, and this would be back before you for discussion at a later date as we get further along in this process. Which, when it comes to the process, here's the calendar to kind of show where we're at and what's still to come. So should you choose to approve the resolution, it would be then submitted to the Kansas Secretary of Commerce for approval. And then after that, the subsequent steps here could then be discussed and looked at. So it is a bit lengthy for an RHID, so there's still a ways to go. So these would be the options before you today. And then this will be the action requested.
I move to adopt resolution number 2025-020, making certain housing needs findings and determinations for the former Lincoln School project.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Barrett, seconded by Commissioner Musil. Further discussion.
Excited for the project.
Nothing further. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Passes 5-0. Midwest Energy Utility Agreements, Tallgrass Phase 4. You're still there.
Yes, you're not
For a
done with
while
me.
yet.
Yes, let's say you're not done with me for a while. So the next item is Midwest Energy Utilities Agreements for Tallgrass Phase 4. This item is a bit unusual for the city to be discussing, and I'll mention why here in a second. So back in April, the RHID and development agreement with Heart of America for Tallgrass Phase 4 were approved by the City Commission. As part of that, the city did agree to finance the infrastructure costs, while in return, Heart of America provided a 30% deposit of $1.8 million to cover debt services on bond financing. So part of this infrastructure is the electric and natural gas installation, for which Midwest Energy has provided the necessary contracts for. Normally, if the developer was going in and financing all of the infrastructure themselves, this would be the sort of thing that they would sign the contracts for and take care of. But because the city has agreed to finance those costs, this is then up to us to take care of these contracts. And so currently the city is soliciting bids for the construction of the streets, water, sewer, et cetera, infrastructure that would be necessary to serve the 101 residential lots in Tallgrass Phase 4. Those bids are set to be opened on November 18th. Over the course of that construction project, which would occur probably sometime in the new year, whether that's January or February, Midwest Energy would go in and then construct the electric and natural gas infrastructure, costs of which are RHID reimbursable. So the electric contract is $717,872, and the gas contract is $79,585. So the combined cost of both of these utility contracts is $797,457. Total cost of the total infrastructure project will be paid using GO bonds with the debt service provided by that deposit that I mentioned, and then the RHID revenues as those are received. So these will be the options for you today, and this will be the action requested.
I move to authorize the city manager to sign the residential subdivision electric underground contract and residential subdivision natural gas facilities contract between the city and Midwest Energy in a combined amount of $797,457 to be funded utilizing bond proceeds offset by RHID revenues.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Reuter, seconded by Commissioner Cunningham. Discussion or questions for Jared?
So just clarification, we're doing this about $800,000, and then we basically pay ourselves back dedicated funding source through the RHID revenues is going back to us rather than the developer.
Correct.
Okay.
No further questions? All in favor of the vote, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes 5-0. Item 10 on our agenda is resolution evidencing an intent to issue industrial revenue bonds, exit 157, 24/7.
So this item is to discuss a resolution of intent to issue industrial revenue bonds, or IRBs, for the 24/7 truck stop that's proposed at the exit 157. The developer has plans to construct an approximately 9,000 square foot full-service travel plaza and convenience store at the southeast corner of 230th Avenue and 55th Street, which is near the I-70 exit 157. As part of the travel plaza, there would be space for gas and diesel fuel stations, EV charging stations, a fast food restaurant, dog park, and RV overnight campsites. The developer is also requesting that the city approve TIF and CID districts, which would be discussed later on as those processes get started in future meeting dates. So this image shows the location for the project, which is just off of I-70. This is an image of the 24/7 location that was recently developed and constructed in Russell by this same developer. So the intention here would be something fairly similar, both in style and the kind of look of the type of facility and amenities that would be available. This image kind of shows the proposed site layout. The travel plaza you can see there with the convenience store, and the proposed restaurant is facing west there, and then the dog park is there on the west edge of the property with some gas and fuel stations on each side. The developer is seeking industrial revenue bonds, or IRBs, for the purpose of this project. IRBs are kind of a unique bond issuance, which are meant to provide at least one of two incentives, either a property tax abatement and or a sales tax exemption on construction materials. In this case, the project is only seeking the sales tax exemption portion. The IRBs do not affect the city's debt limit or rating. They do not require taxpayer commitment, and the developer is solely responsible for the payment obligations. The potential benefit of the IRB for the developer is estimated, depending on how the costs come in, to be around $125,000. So at this stage in the process for IRBs, a resolution of intent only states the city's intention to issue IRBs in order to grant the developer that sales tax exemption certificate. The actual bonds would not be issued until the project reaches substantial completion, and if for some reason those bonds were not to be issued, the developer would be responsible for paying back those sales tax dollars. So the total investment by the developer for this project is estimated to be about $11.1 million. The developer has also estimated that the annual retail sales of the travel plaza would be $5 million and then $20 million in fuel sales. For an IRB, like I said, no general obligation or special obligation bonds are issued, as the city is really only the conduit issuer, and the payment obligations are on the developer. So these would be the options before you today, and this will be the action requested.
I move to adopt resolution number 2025-021, evidencing an intent to issue industrial revenue bonds for the exit 157 24/7 truck stop.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Cunningham, seconded by Commissioner Barrick. Further discussion?
If this would happen to bring more fuel cells from the fuel tax, would we be able to keep that, or does that go back to the?
Fuel tax is a formula by the state,
Right.
so I couldn't tell you how. I don't know. We just get a number every year that says here's what you're
But
going to get.
when we get that, that goes towards parks, am I right?
No, it goes towards a special highway
Special highway, okay.
for street maintenance.
Mr. Koschel, do you have a comment?
David Koschel, citizen of Hayes. Just wanted to reiterate what I had said during the work session. Do any of you know how many of these tax incentives are currently ongoing? How many have been put out there? I think that $125,000 in sales tax might go a long way to a city who runs on sales tax. And for a company who would likely build here anyway, and if they wouldn't, then the space is very desirable for a Love's truck stop, any other option along that certain market. I just think that, especially for a company who's going to be seeking the CID and the TIF tax incentives as well, I mean, how many of these companies are we going to give these to? It just seems like we're just tossing out money to anybody who wants to come and invest here. Like I said before, we have inherent value. We're a hub in between Kansas City and Denver. Let's remember that we have worth in our own. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, commissioners? If not, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes 5-0. I'll now open a public hearing regarding the issuance of the Agility Industrial Revenue Bonds and an exemption from the ad valorem taxation of property constructed or purchased with the proceeds of such. Jared?
Yes, this will be to discuss a resolution of intent to issue IRBs for Agility. So Agility is a manufacturing and medical technology business operating out of the existing facility at 500 Commerce Parkway. They are seeking to retain and expand their business operations here in Hayes through a purchase of their existing facility where they operate, as well as some adjacent area, and expand their current operations at their facilities. So Agility currently employs about 91 employees, and as part of this expansion, they're planning to add an additional 140 jobs. So here's the location for Agility, which is right off of Commerce Parkway, south of Old Highway 40, out near the airport. This image kind of shows their existing facilities. They do have 2 buildings on that parcel. And the plan, I believe, if you can kind of see, they have this facility and then this one over here. So part of it will be remodeling those facilities and constructing a connector to connect both of those buildings, as well as potentially some further expansion in the future. So again, IRBs are an incentive in which the city acts as a conduit for a developer to receive either or a sales tax exemption on construction materials and a property tax abatement for certain eligible projects, which this project, a bit different than the previous one, this one is eligible for the property tax abatement. The developer is requesting both the property tax abatement and the sales tax exemption. IRBs do not affect the city's debt limit or rating and do not require taxpayer commitment, as the developer is solely responsible for the payment obligations. On the sales tax side, the estimated benefit for the developer is estimated to be around $101,000 for this project. Developer's total investment is estimated at $6.55 million, of which $4.25 million is in land acquisition, and the other $2.3 million would be in renovation and construction as part of their expansion. The city's property tax abatement is estimated to be around $92,000 per year. So again, no general obligation or special obligation bonds will be issued as part of this project. As with IRBs, the city only serves as the conduit issuer, and the payment obligations solely belong to the developer. And I don't have it on the slide, but as part of Agility's project, they are seeking and have sought and received economic incentives from the state Department of Commerce. So they did work closely with the state, and state officials did work with them on putting some of their incentives together. And so there was agreements and documentation related to that as well on that end. So this calendar is meant to show where we are in the process. So state statute does require we have the public hearing due to the property tax abatement component for the IRBs. In December, the plan is to be back before you to do the IRB closeout and ordinance, which is a little bit different and quicker than most IRBs, but it is important for the timeline on this particular project to get those bonds issued at this time before the end of the year. So these are the options before you today. And once the time comes, these will be the actions requested.
Okay, I would take, during public comment section, any comments?
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Larry Askey. I'm Vice President for Agility Health, and I bring, I think, a little bit of a unique perspective to the discussion this evening. I'm a lifelong Kansas resident with roots in Gove, Kansas. I've since moved to Kansas City and worked for what used to be Sizewise Rentals, LLC, that was started in western Kansas and moved into Ellis and Hayes many years ago, and I was actually a part of the team that purchased this property on behalf of the Hayes or of the Fricke family in Hayes back in 2010, which was then, the company was then purchased in 2021 by Agility Health out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Within such a large company of approximately 6,000 employees, we have a lot of options on what direction the corporate could have chosen to go. And I want to thank all of you for taking into consideration the options that are going to hopefully allow us to continue in the Hayes area for a long period of time and continue to grow. It's been a bit of a passion project for me as a Hayes and Kansas lover. And I think the jobs that we briefly saw actually don't even include our location in Ellis that will continue to stay open as a result of moving forward with this acquisition. We have about 60 employees, I believe, in Ellis right now, which would also continue to grow with time. And I think it's noteworthy that many of the incentives, or all of the incentives that we have sought and are acquiring through the state, are all performance-based. So this is certainly not an attempt at any sort of a grab or attempt to do anything other than grow organically and in a very healthy way in the community and support the community. I look forward to working with Hayes Med more than we already do, and we've already started some good negotiation discussions with Fort Hayes to have some really good lifelines to future employees, ranging from even recent high school graduates all the way up to engineers that could support our research and development center. As a part of this project, we also do have an option to grow in the area on contiguous property, which hopefully would allow us to continue to provide revenue to the community, jobs to the community, and be a good stronghold in the Midwest and a proud player in the state of Kansas. So we thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Askew. Appreciate the comments. Mr. Herman?
Yeah, Eddie Herman, President and CEO at Hayes Medical Center. Really, I'm here to just, to one, say thank you for hearing this and the opportunity. We have had a long history of working with the facility when it was size-wise. We continue, even as their agility, with a lot. I think also for us, one of the pieces that we're excited about is the fact that we have the potential to have a bit different and closer partnership with them, with the expansion of them building the beds. It's not been norm for Hayes Med to actually have the size-wise beds as our permanent bed in there, but I think it's going to lead us down a road from a technology standpoint too, to be able to have input. As the largest employer, I'll also tell you that I get excited when I'm here and I see that we're expanding housing and we have expanding jobs, because when we recruit people, they typically come with a spouse that needs a job somewhere, and it's very helpful when we have that here in our community. So for me, for Hayes Medical Center, we see that this is a really great thing for our community, and it's really going to be advantageous for us on the recruitment front as we bring people into our community and try and get physicians, physical therapists, pharmacists, nurses, and all the such that we carry. So thank you.
Really good to hear. Thank you so much for coming. Additional citizen comments?
David Koschel, Citizen Hayes. Speaking of the housing, I understand that at Hayes Med Center, they're able to provide wages for that would be equivalent to the new housing developments that we're putting up. With Agility, I don't think that that's necessarily the case. I can't speak because I haven't been employed there myself, but I know the average wages around here. I've talked to some people that work at Agility as well, and I know that from what I've been told, the
wages there are not anything that can give people the opportunity to live in these new developments. I'd also say that I believe that Agility would stay here regardless of the incentive. I did hear that they had just recently invested quite a bit in the area. I'd say that maybe we should just take that into consideration before we make our move here.
Thank you. Are there any, yes, Mr. Askew?
I would be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to speak a little bit further, and I actually appreciate your attendance, Mr. Kojal. I think I would actually invite you at any time to come out to the facility. I'd love to show you around and educate you a little bit on what we've done, what we're doing, and what you can look forward to that I think might make you proud for us to be a part of your community and not a concern. We have implemented and are implementing a lot of robotic equipment, not to replace jobs, but to make our devices stronger, faster made. And each one of those pieces of equipment requires 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 operators that we pay to have trained. And we've already had discussions with Fort Hays and the extension campuses to get a pipeline for local people. One of the things that I have hated to see through the years, having been a relative local, is our youth growing up, becoming educated, and fleeing to other locations instead of supporting the community that I love. So I think in the past it could be said that our wages were average at best. We had a lot of more manual labor positions, and we competed heavily with the oil fields for the people that would weld and put together a lot of our equipment. So there were fluctuating wages. What we have now is a much more technologically advanced product. The primary hospital bed, excuse me, that you've heard a little bit about has 9 separate patents on it that I've written. It has a lot of electronics that we have programmed in-house. It has electronics components that we've designed and had fabricated in the United States. We meet the definition of a U.S. manufactured product.
It's very exciting.
It is. It is. And I'm passionate about it. I actually drove back to Kansas City yesterday morning after my meetings. And then I reconsidered and thought, I really feel like I need to be here so people can understand that we're not just an empty building full of minions run by someplace in Minneapolis. We are a thriving business, and I'm very proud of it. And I will give you my information and welcome you to come out anytime. I'll set up.
I appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Mr.
So,
Askew,
yes.
what is the time frame on hiring approximately 50 employees? Do you know that at this time?
We have requisitions that are going to be open. Some are open already.
Okay.
We've had some that have been open for quite some time. Some positions are a little bit difficult to fill out here. I think where I can say I've stuck my neck out a little bit internally with my employers to say if we build it, they will come.
Yeah.
And so we're working on that. We're having conversations to try to be a little bit creative. Some of the positions require predicate degrees, predicate training. I'm working with our HR department to say, give me some leeway. If we can't find somebody, help me find somebody that we can train internally to take those positions. There was something else that you said that I'm forgetting now. As to whether or not we would have built out here anyway, the property was all still owned by the family that started and developed Sizewise Rentals, which primarily was a bariatric bed manufacturer back then. For any of you that have seen the Half Ton Man series on the TLC channel, that individual with his unfortunate health problems was on a bed that was manufactured right here in Ellis, Kansas.
Wow.
And we were able to improve his quality of life, which I'm very proud of. But I digress. So that the family that started, say, Sizewise Reynolds still owned all of that property. And you're correct to some extent that we were starting to put money in that we needed for the infrastructure, which caused our CEO and the C-suite to say, do we stay here on property we don't own, or do we go to one of these other locations? We have 150 some odd sites around the country where we distribute the devices that we manufacture. And so there were a lot of contenders wanting our business. And the majority of what we had spent was in equipment that we could put on a semi and take off with. So that's where I kind of stepped in, and Alicia Giacchetta, my paralegal, is here today. She grew up in the area and is also very passionate about this project. And so we worked very hard with Tim Zimmerman and with Doug to put together the best package that we could internally. So it was not at all an assured thing that we were going to stay here, much to my chagrin. So I'm very pleased that I think we've gotten past that hump now. Part of the applications for HPIP and for PEAG, the state benefit packages require that we have a certain level of median and average living wage for the employees that we would be hiring. Excuse me. And I'm happy to say that with the new jobs and their listed salaries, we are at actually above on both of the two standards now. So our goal is to incrementally increase the average wage for all of our employees out here.
Would you be willing to share what that average is currently?
If I could remember numbers well enough, I would tell you. But yes, we could. It's a part of the state. It's a part of the application to the state.
Is that $20 an hour?
New
David?
average wage. I'm sorry.
Excuse me, both. I think Mr. Askew's offered to join you in anything you'd like to visit with out there. This comment section is not meant for a back and forth. We certainly want everybody to be able to make their points, and I think that's what's happening. But maybe the
Important points for this meeting, though.
Pardon me?
It seems like these are important points for this meeting, though, for this vote.
Proceed if that's what you think.
But like I said, I don't have those memorized, but I know that in going through the process and applying that we had to be at or above those numbers in order for the application to be received. And we are at or above those. Most of them are salaried positions, not even hourly. Unless, Alicia, you remember any of those numbers off the top of your head, because we'd be happy to share them.
I'm sorry, you'll have to step up and introduce yourself, please. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alicia Giacchetta. I believe the median wage for the Ellis County was $39,000 for a salary.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. I don't know the average off the top of my head.
Sure.
Thank you.
But yes, when you come over to the facility and meet, I can show you the different types of positions as they stand today, the jobs that we're adding, and their commensurate wages.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Askew. Appreciate it. Any other citizens' comments before I close?
David Koschel, citizen of Hayes. Just wanted to point out to Doug Williams, that median wage is not enough for your new housing developments. Thank you.
Any other? Okay, I'll hear a motion to close the meeting, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Musil and seconded by Commissioner Cunningham. Any further discussion?
Jared, on the, I guess that's just on the motion for close public
That's
hearing.
public hearing, right.
Okay, I'm
Right.
sorry, yeah. Oh. No,
Okay.
just-
So you still have to do the action.
Right.
Yes,
All in
yes.
favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes 5-0. And now we'll move to item 12, the resolution evidencing an intent to issue industrial revenue bonds to Agility. You're still here. We're so happy.
Yes, I'm still around.
Do I
Well,
questions?
all you
Now
need- all you
your-
need-
now your
sorry.
questions.
The tax abatement is only for city property tax and not county and school, correct?
No, it does include county
doesn't-
and
okay.
school district.
And they're allowed a,
They are not allowed a veto on industrial revenue.
only on the RHIDs?
They are for RHIDs and for TIF.
Okay.
What's the number of years that?
It's a 10-year abatement.
Thank you.
You need a motion on
On
the
the-
resolution?
I'm following and making sure.
Make a
Sean, do you have
motion.
some more questions?
I do have questions. Do
Go
you
ahead
wanna
and
make a
go ahead
motion
and
first?
go ahead.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 2025-022, evidencing an intent to issue industrial revenue bonds.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Musil and seconded by Commissioner Reuter. Now discussion, questions.
I do not have a question, but to Mr. Askew's statement about hiring, I have a very close Fort Hays graduate that's been looking at you guys very closely. He doesn't business degree, so he doesn't know if he's a fit, but he's excited about what you guys have to offer out there. So I think it's exciting for our town. There's possibly going to be a lot more jobs. And Toby, I was going to ask you, and maybe you know this, maybe you don't. When's the last time we've had an employer add approximately 50 jobs? And maybe that's a question that you can answer later.
It's been a while since we've had that many. I mean, overall, like the Hilton Garden Inn or something like that might be overall 50 employees, but a non-retail, it would, I don't know, it probably goes back several years before we've had that type of expansion.
The manufacturing right by Quick Shop, I'm drawing a blank the name that just left.
Hadronics.
Hadronics.
How many did we lose once they closed?
About 100?
Was it about 100? Okay.
I just wanted to, thank you for continuing to look at us. I mean, a company as large as your guys, you could go anywhere you wanted to. I mean, you could say it's hard to find people and employees here. We'll find somewhere that has more people. And you decided, because you guys love the area, we're going to partner with other local facilities, identify a potential pipeline for workforce, and expand an American-made product right here in Ellis County. So I appreciate you looking at that and not just packing up and leaving. I mean, that'd be a huge detriment to not just our community, to Ellis as well. So appreciate you guys, continuing to look at us and wanting to expand here rather than packing up. Thank you.
It would take away one of the heartfelt things, I believe, of our community. This business started here. This business started in Ellis, Kansas, with somebody with a dream and a vision of what can happen. We've had a couple of those happen in this community. The Allenbaugh family did exactly the same thing. We're really proud when you choose someplace like Hayes, knowing that you can go wherever you want. So the fact that you made a trip back out and brought your paralegal with you, thank you so much for making that trip. I didn't know you ran home and then came back again, so bless you for that. Anything?
I just have a couple comments.
Okay.
In my time in Hayes, I've heard multiple times that we desire industry or manufacturing. And so many times we've had to turn things away based on the means that we have here, water being number one. So the fact that you're bringing an industry to us that does not require an excess use of water that we can accept is huge. It just is one more piece into our puzzle. And so I really appreciate that. And my last comment is I just want to remind us that the abatements and the benefits that we're giving up, there's so much more economic benefit that we are gaining through this expansion from Agility to our own community that it's very valuable.
Thank you.
And then just wanted to verify in here, the impact report from Kansas Department of Commerce for Agility has a total economic output benefit of about $42 million, affecting 140 new jobs starting at 45,000 plus, which is over the multiplier that you said, because the multiplier, because all that's listed here, has like 1.13 times median average salary or whatever. I mean, so that's a huge benefit. I mean, it tells us if we weren't to offer the incentive and you stayed and did what you said you were going to do, Ellis County would see, $1.5 million profit, doing exactly what you do. Profit benefit. With the incentives, that doubles to $3 million. I mean, it is an amazing investment to the community to provide that many jobs And I hope you continue working alongside your HR for those increased, salaries and performance and education materials that you guys provide. I mean, to provide training that you guys pay for is huge. Because, I mean, education is not cheap. So for you guys to offer that as a part of the incentive is huge.
Well, like Mr. Herman said, if somebody moves here and works there, it brings somebody else that might need a job. And I mean, it's not just the person
Just the
working
one.
there. So it's a win-win, I think. That's what the incentives, that's what they're designed for.
We'll continue doing our part, working on quality of life, making sure that that's an easy piece for you when you're attracting new employees.
Yep. And I just think, tag teaming on that is bringing the 140 jobs. It doesn't just bring that economic benefit, but also it showers into the future of the fact that when we want to bring in more retail, the things that retail companies look at to decide whether they want to move retail into this town is how many jobs are there, how many houses are there, how many houses are being filled. So it becomes a benefit into the future for being able to attract new business and growth and bringing new families. It's hard to get started. There's always a stumbling block. We've always talked about it. Do you get the jobs? Do you get the housing? Do you get the water? You have to start somewhere. But once you get it started, it's hard to stop it.
It's hard to stop
It becomes exponential. And so I think this is a huge thing for the city, for the ability to exponentially start to jumpstart the growth. And it will affect our schools. It means these are families coming in, which means there's going to be kids coming in, which means the schools are going to be able to grow. So the ability to affect our future for attracting new business and retail, making sure the schools stay healthy and grow, I think it's a huge win for us, and it's worth our putting that incentive in front of it.
And it could keep some of the, sorry.
No, go ahead.
It could keep some of the college students here. Instead of graduating and moving on, they may want to stay here.
If we listen to ourselves, these are all the things we've been talking about for 5 years. It took a start somewhere, and I think it was one of our first visions was to create an environment where we could have an economic development initiative that would make a difference. And I think that all of Grow Hayes, including their board, and I know Mr. Herman serves on that board, having the vision to start where we start and then to keep going. It's not easy, folks. If it was easy, anybody would do it. Anybody would do it. But there are a lot of great people working on these efforts. Mr. Koschel, one more comment?
Thank you. David Koschel, Hayes Hayes resident. I just wanted to say I do appreciate you guys coming or staying in our town here and growing your business here. I wouldn't have as much of an issue with us giving out the IRBs and the other incentives if we weren't just handing them out to everyone. And so that's my issue is you just happen to be in the way here. I'm not singling you guys out by any means. You guys are worth an investment like this. Perhaps all the other businesses and developments that we're giving these incentives to, maybe we should have held out for a business like this to give these to. The 24/7 store, they have the money to invest here. $125,000 out of a $11.1 million project wouldn't have broken them. An incentive like this to grow, to add that many jobs to the area, that's worth it to me. But I think that if we would stop giving out incentives to every Tom, Dick, and Harry that comes up to the city commission asking for one, then it would be more worth it to give it out to when they're actually necessary. Also, with the amount of jobs, a large amount of jobs not in retail, the crisis intervention center that High Plains is putting together, it's bringing quite a few jobs. Just wanted to point that out.
And we have brought that out.
That's about 80 jobs. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Crisis Intervention Center is definitely huge for the community.
Just thank you guys very much.
I'm going to take a little bit of exception to one thing, and I don't normally engage back in this, but the businesses that we're engaging with at this point and doing these things with, I don't consider Tom, Dick, and Harry's. I consider them viable businesses that choose to come to our community. We're trying to do our very best for them as well as everybody in the community. My only exception to your comment. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. I do think that most of these businesses, I mean, we're directly subsidizing competition for many of the businesses in town. Like the HRC is publicly subsidized, the gym rather. I'm fully behind all the different other projects that they have, the different activities for kids. The gym is publicly subsidized. When we have the Center for Health Improvement, the Main Street Gym, Munch Fitness, all these other gyms that are privately owned, but we're publicly subsidizing competition for them. 24/7, we're publicly subsidizing competition for Patel's Conoco. Russ's serves, which is, it's a great little spot, but we're publicly subsidizing competition. I think that these different businesses have the funds and have the wherewithal to be able to start their business or expand their businesses on their own. I think that maybe we should just stop spending so much is my main goal.
Thank you.
Stop rubber stamping everything.
I think we got your point. Thank you very much, and I do appreciate your comments. Do appreciate it. Mr. Graham.
Mike Graham, citizen, Hayes. I'm excited tonight, hearing everything. I want to thank you for the keeping the Lincoln project pushing forward here. And I know I've seen and heard comments about that we're not pursuing for low income. We don't really have a choice about that, but we're pursuing the Lincoln School for elderly. And I think that's a huge situation that I feel that we can do elderly housing cheaper than anybody else for the certain people that need it in there. So that's our situation. I'm happy you kept that going. We're talking about the 24/7 group. Last week, a gentleman that spoke from 24/7, I met his grandfather and his father 28 years ago. I was in the fuel business and have known them, and probably before he was born. And I've seen them build 10 plus places like this. And they picked prime locations, and they do it right. They're a great group. I think we're lucky to have them because we have had some issues trying to find somebody that's good up there. And we're not going to have Love's. Love's left Hayes. They're in Ellis. They're not going to be up there. And I've dealt with truck stops, managed 3 truck stops in Kansas years ago, and I think we're extremely lucky to have the triplet family here. And the agility. I've had 3 of their employees and their families living with our organization, and they're paying $1,100-$1,200 a month, and they saved enough money and they bought homes and moved on. So I think the whole situation is going to be great.
It's working the way it's supposed to.
It is. I want to thank everybody here.
Thank you, Mr. Graham. We appreciate the Lincoln project because we are not having to deal with infrastructure. It's already there. And that's a great way to infill, if you were.
I'm excited.
So appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I can call for a vote. Is that where I was at? I have to have somebody keeping me in order here. It was moved and seconded, moved by Commissioner Musil, seconded by Commissioner Reuter. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes 5-0. Okay, Commissioner Musil.
Just excited.
Jared, thank you. I didn't say thank you.
Like Mr. Graham said, I'm excited for all the stuff we got going on in the future. If you drove on by today, you see the old roadway ends being torn down, and I think we got some excitement behind that. So it's very exciting to see what's going on in this town. And I was out in western Kansas this week, and hearing people talk about Hayes, it is exciting to hear what people are saying about Hayes. And I just, I know, you go on the lovely social medias and people bag on what we're doing and what we're not, but it's exciting when you leave town and people talk about Hayes. It's very exciting to be part of this community.
Thank you. Commissioner Barrick.
All right, yeah, no, I totally agree, and I won't jump on what I know Elaine is going to want to talk about. Got to save some things. So I just wanted to bring up one thing that's completely out of the blue, because I do that sometimes.
Yes, you do.
I would like, potentially, if Toby, if the city could do a little bit of research on what other cities are doing now. I'm going to get back to our animal ordinances. Okay, so it's kind of fascinating. You know, the city, you know, we banned elephants and hippos and rhinos and ostriches and apes from being in the city. Okay, I'm not sure anybody's going to be able to store an elephant in their backyard. Some of the things also that we have, we don't allow in town. The state doesn't allow in town in the state unless there's permits. You know, like lions and leopards and jaguars and cheetahs and any sort of dangerous animals like that. Including things like, you know, raccoons, skunks, and foxes. Those are more local ones. And you know, I'm all right with that. But also the things that the city does not allow. They don't allow dangerous dogs. Okay, and they have definitions of what, you know, dogs with a known propensity to attack or cause injury, or vicious, or do threatening behaviors on streets, or are bred primarily for the purpose of fighting, or anything that attacks or bites a human or a domestic animal. And then they just throw in there pit bulls, as though they're by definition going to be threatening and attacking. And they were bred originally for dog fighting. But dog fighting is I haven't heard of much dog fighting in Hayes in the last, well, I've been here 16 years. And that as a breed is known to be a very stable breed. So people that have them as family pets, they're very stable and are actually very family friendly. And I know people, probably 8 or 10 people that have them, not in Hayes, but around. And I think that it would be, or even a dog that has the appearance of a pit bull. We don't, unless people want to pay $50, chip them. And the thing that I think is tough is keep them, not allow them to go for a walk without being muzzled, or it basically keeps those dogs from potentially being socialized with people and dogs, which has the potential to make them dangerous if they're not. And so I think I would like to see what other cities are doing, because I think it might be worth considering removing the restriction of just saying if you have a pit bull, it's a dangerous dog, and go to, if it acts like a dangerous dog, like any other dog that is aggressive, then we consider it a dangerous dog, but not just simply because of its look or breed.
We can do some research. We'll get back with you on it.
That'd be great, thank you.
I did warn Chris Munch about his chickens that get to the city.
Mr. Cunningham.
Okay, well, I assume what you thought I was going to announce was that there's a huge game tomorrow. So, yeah, good luck to Hayes High Indians. Not only a playoff game, but with their rivals against Great Bend. So, that'll be a huge game for them. Good luck to all of them.
Are you supposed to bring fireworks to the game?
I wouldn't suggest
Yeah,
that.
no fireworks.
No fireworks. Yeah. So yeah, good sportsmanship. Bring that. Man, the animals. I gotta stop following you. I guess other than that, just have a good, safe weekend and joyful.
Good. Commissioner Reuter.
Yeah, I just wanted to give you guys an update. I was with staff the last few days at the Governor's Water Conference on Water, or Kansas Governor's Conference on Water in Kansas.
They talk about water at it?
Just a little bit. It was a lot of good information. We had a lot of good conversations with our engineers, with our legal staff that's working through the Supreme Court process right now. Where are we at? And then meeting with a lot of state legislators, both on the Senate and House side, informing them, what's going on with the process. How can we address, issues like this? Because a lot of communities are dealing with this. They're just not as prepared as we were, thanks to decades of people, not letting it fall by the wayside. The people who came before us identified we had an issue, and we identified it and started working towards a solution. Now our job is to carry that over the finish line and do that appropriately. So we got to share our story about where we've come from, where our water sources are, what other options we've looked at, looked at desal. We've looked at, I guess desal would be with the Dakota wells. Alternate water sources. We've worked with the Army Corps of Engineers at the federal level, and identified this is the, the 100-year source that we can utilize, and that's if we use it all the time. And this is a backup for us as, when that next decadal drought hits. Should we need it, it's available. And we let a lot of the folks know from around the area. We spoke from representatives and senators that live in that area. Said, hey, we opened it up to walk-in hunting. Please let your people know, because we've got people from all over the country going into those places. And we've got signs up saying, go shop and eat in Kinsley. It's been a huge benefit to them down there. I mean, a 20% tax increase on their revenue, tax revenue increase for them just since we've opened the walk-in hunting is huge. Quail, I guess, is huge down there right now. They're all over the place. Pheasants are getting there. Got some turkey. Chris has done an amazing job of just getting that place back to what it should have been. One of the very first speakers at the conference actually went over the Dust Bowl in Western Kansas. Talked about everything that happened that basically came to that point of what caused it. All the perfect storm, no pun intended, of just everything it took to ruin people's lives for decades. Just the stories they told, people having actual dirt blocking their lungs, couldn't breathe, coughing up mud balls because it's like in their bronchial tubes. People were running vacuums in people's attics because their attics were crashing from dust. And it was, various farming practices. So the ag community and water communities get together and identify ways to keep that from happening. And our area, reverting it back to natural grasslands is actually one of the ways that prevents something like that. Because, it is a sand dune area. It is not good for crops. Grazing is great, but we've identified somewhat of a barrier. So when that next decadal drought hits, we're protecting more people than we know by not allowing topsoil to fly all over the place. Lots of good conversation. I'm really excited to see what the next steps are once we hear what the Supreme Court has to say.
Thank you. Thank you. Good stuff. From the mayor's chair, I don't make a lot of statements. I try to conduct a good meeting and keep things moving along and proper protocol. Because I often agree with at least one of them. If we all agreed, 4 of us would stay home, but we often agree, so I don't need to carry on. I wanted to talk about 2 things, and then I have a short statement to read. You weren't here for the last meeting, David, so congratulations on your election. We look forward to you being at the table. You were away on business, and we sure understand that. I want to make another comment on scooters. If damn is cussing, I'm cussing. The damn things are getting out of control. Mm-hmm. Parents, you must control your students. I came within less than 12 inches of hitting a kid that came flying through an intersection when I was just going down Main Street. It has happened over and over and over again. I am not in favor of an ordinance. I'm not in favor of us jumping into this, but somebody's going to get killed, just like the young man did in Leawood, Kansas. He was totally in the right. He didn't do anything nuts in it, but he was killed. Please, 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 from all of our standpoint, be aware of them. Parents, make sure you know what your kids are doing and riding. Lastly, I have a short statement to read to end the meeting. Last week, I decided to wait for a calmer demeanor on my part to make comments, but clearly others did not live by that same premise. Tonight, however, I'd like to make a few statements relative to city protocol. Respect for all who serve and those that we serve, both in person and in print and in social media. I welcome anyone coming to the podium, as we always have. To make it clear, it's not our practice to open citizen comments at work session meetings. Please refer to all of our agendas. If you look at our work session meetings, there's no comments. I have never denied anyone that wanted to make a comment during those sections, but it's not the normal protocol. We ask at regular meetings for public comment on items not on the agenda. This allows anyone to bring a subject to the table that we're not talking about that evening. Again, part of regularly scheduled meetings, not work sessions, At regular meetings, if a citizen has a comment relative to an agenda item, they can comment during that particular agenda item, just like Mr. Koschel did tonight, and that's what I was trying to provide clarity to. It's within my purview as the chair of the meeting to allow others to comment at work sessions like I did last week. I asked Mr. Augustine if he wanted to comment relative to the project just shared by Assistant Manager Jared Kuckelman, or to clarify, and he stepped to the podium. I also asked Citizen Koschel if he had a comment, reminding him and others that is not a normal practice at work sessions, but I will always try to be respectful. For that, there was a clear attack on social media shared with me by others, because I stay out of the fray on social media, so someone would have to bring it to my attention. From a personal perspective, I've served this community in various ways for 50 years. I ran for public office to continue serving, to work within my belief of doing the right thing every day, and have never brought my political beliefs to this table. I seek input, make sure I'm informed, and talk to more in the community than you can believe from month to month to month about issues. On both sides of the issue, I contend that is the practice of my fellow commissioners at this table. I work hard to keep a perspective relating to 5, 10, and even 25 years from now, the very best I can. I say these things today to show my support of my fellow commissioners, including Reese Barrick, who has served with the same intentions as mine for all 4 years in his role. He has never been anything but respectful when we or others disagree with his position on any issue, and we have disagreed. As you have all heard me say, if all of us agreed, 4 of us could stay home. I respect all who threw their hat in the ring, but those elected are those elected. I hope interested parties run again at election times. This community needs choices, and clearly voted their choices in the most recent election. I'm honored to serve and look forward to continuing to serve for another 4 years. Do we need an executive session? We're adjourned.
Well said, Mayor.